Hi there, folks. Welcome to episode 6 of I Don't Want to Hold Your Hand, the Beatles Quarantine catalog, where if you're just joining us for the first time, I am attempting to play all 248 Beatles songs in chronological order, one video at a time, while we endure this quarantine. We're only in June or April of 1960, so we got a long way to go. So plenty of time to catch up on the first 5 videos. We got some Beatles to sing, so let's get going. First up, I am now on YouTube. The Beatles Quarantine Catalog is the name of the channel. You can subscribe and follow every video from there. I'm also on Instagram at James Penka, where you can follow along with these videos, but I also post other Beatles content, and it is my personal Instagram, so you get pictures of me doing other stuff. It's an exciting place to be. But also, I'm on Venmo at James Penka as well. And that's just if you want to support the series by dropping $1 or whatnot, so I can keep making these despite everything that's going on. So last update before we get going, my quarantine mustache is still an embarrassment. So stay tuned for when that really kicks in. I got a lot of requests from people to talk a bit more about these recordings that I've been playing. The last 4 videos have been from these tapes, and the next few are also from these tapes, and then we move on to deeper into the Beatles' career. So what these tapes are, they're called the Forthland Road tapes. Forthland Road is the road that Paul McCartney grew up on, and these tapes were made in his childhood home, apparently in his bathroom. It doesn't make sense though, because on some of these recordings there's 5 musicians playing, and it's not a big bathroom in that house. So during these sessions that took place in April and June of 1960, they recorded 3 reels worth of music. Those 3 reels, of course, went in different directions, and they all ended up in different hands. And so we don't know the order in which these songs were recorded, technically. The order I've been playing them in is the order that makes the most sense to me, and that is to start with Cayenne, which is the simplest of the songs, and Well Darlin', also very bare bones, and those are the only 2 songs on the first tape, the first reel. The next reel has all the ones we've been doing, and this reel ends with songs that the Beatles will have in their catalog that will come out for real later. So to me, there's a sort of a natural growth to this reel. The third reel, no one really knows what's on it, but the rumor is that on this reel is a recording of When I'm 64 and Ask Me Why, which that would be cool to hear, but thankfully we have those for real later in their career. But apparently Winston's Walk is on this tape, and it's the only recording of it. So there is a Beatles song out there in a shelf, in a cabinet somewhere, and I need to hear it. Also on these tapes are 2 musicians that we will not hear from again with the Beatles, and that is Stu Sutcliffe playing bass. Stu was John's art school friend who won a cash prize in an art contest, and then John and Paul convinced him to go buy a bass and be the bass player. Classic. So Stu was apparently never any good on the bass and eventually left the group very soon, and Paul took over the bass playing duties and became possibly the greatest bass player of all time. So cool. Also on the recordings are apparently Paul's brother Mike McCartney is playing the drums on some of these. All right, so let's dive into Beatles song number 6, Some Days. So this title, Some Days, is just an assumption because this song, like a lot of the songs on the Forthland Road tapes, it was never released, so we don't know what the title is, but when you hear the song, you will understand why it is assumed that it is called Some Days. So this song is super simple, a great little rock song. It sounds like 2 guitars, a bass deep in the background, and Paul singing. No harmonies, simple guitar work. But what jumps out at me is Paul is just at the beginning of his songwriting career, and he already can write a really good melody. I mean, this song will get stuck in your head, even though the lyrics are not really finished, or they're mumbled, or he has forgotten them. But they don't make any sense. And when I play it, I'll try it. I'll do what I think he's saying. But the melody is there, and the song structure is there, and it's a rocker. So major points to a very young Paul McCartney. So interesting things to listen for in this tune. A lot of the songs we've heard up to this point, and a lot of the songs that we will hear moving forward, are just like your basic 12-bar blues songs. This one is that as well, but in the guitar solo in the middle, there is a random minor chord thrown in, and I think that's awesome. And I think it's an early bit of creativity from the Beatles that they didn't want to just stick to the 12-bar blues all the time, that they would do something interesting from time to time. And right now it's just a minor chord, but in the future that's going to be playing music backwards, and that's going to be bringing a sitar into the recording studio, and that's going to be using feedback to start a song, fading a song in. It's endless list of things that the Beatles did that people weren't doing. And while this is just an A minor chord, it's cool that it's in here because it shouldn't be, but they did it anyway. Points to the Beatles. Last thing to listen for before I get into the song would be the ending. The ending ends a bit hectically and weird, like a lot of Beatles songs do. But this one, it's like they haven't agreed on the ending, or someone forgot, or they never talked about it. So it ends oddly, and then it dissolves into them chatting and talking about the next song and whatnot. So what I will do, as I always try and do, is recreate what is on the tape until I can at least deem the song is over. So there will be a weird ending on this one. So all that said, please enjoy Beatles song number 6, Some Days.
Well, since November, what I can get. Some days we remember, some days we forget. Some days we were happy, and others were sad.